will the fighting end? This Serb major thinks so.
What does he need from Americans that watch?
Jak Amerykanie mogą wam pomóc? It's just believe in it.
Believe in peace? Very good. Yeah. When we come back, we'll go on a 22-kilometer hike through the zone of separation, led by a lieutenant from Hartford, Wisconsin. One of our most grueling days in Bosnia came when we followed a Hartford, Wisconsin native on a 22-kilometer hike through the hills and mountains of the zone of separation.
You got any questions? Let's go.
The ZOS is a long way from Hartford, Wisconsin, but it's now home for Lieutenant Steve Walter. This 25-year-old Hartford native and West Point graduate probably knows his section of the zone of separation better than anyone.
See the bunker? Yeah, this is the bunker. There's a trench line that goes in the building.
Lieutenant Walter led Alpha Troop of the 3-quarter Cavalry into the ZOS when Serbs still occupied their positions.
Well, they were still here. I mean, they were still living here.
Really? Did they take off when you came in?
The day after, yeah, they left pretty quick.
Since then, he and his troop have logged hundreds of kilometers on foot patrols through the mountains and hills of this demilitarized yet devastated zone.
This side is mine.
Mines are a constant threat.
We were also told that this entire area is cleared by the Serbian commander in this sector. So
I guess you got to believe him?
No.
No, you don't.
No, I'm not saying I'm believing him at all. That's why I won't go walking across that field.
When you do go off the path, footprints are about your only safety net.
Don't walk where others have not walked.
You be okay?
You'll be okay. Mike, you want to check out these houses out?
They search for signs of soldiers violating the peace agreement.
What are you exactly looking for? Tracks?
Just any sign that there may still be folks here.
And others who might be scouting the Americans from former Serb positions.
We're trying to identify areas that folks may be using to watch us. See where our camp is? The town of Alvaluski. This is where the Serbs pushed across and gained land.
So they were all.
This section of the ZOS is one of the farthest points the Serb army surged. Bunkers and remnants of war now litter the hillsides.
That's the actual detonator for the mortar round. So when it actually hits something, that's what causes the mortar round to go off.
The destroyed homes belonged to Muslim families. Some were killed as the Serb army advanced. Most of the others fled.
This is Lishi.
They abandoned the whole town?
This is Venture 5, roger up.
Now, thanks to these patrols, even this ghost town is beginning once again to echo with life. These Muslim lumberjacks came back when they heard the Americans had secured the area.
Bravo! Odakle ste? Odakle ste? Yeah.
Miles away, these Muslim farmers mistook us for Serb soldiers.
No. They thought we were Serbs.
Not Serb, American.
Relieved, they tell us they're here to reclaim their now destroyed homes.
This is all yours.
Lieutenant Walter and his troop are making lasting impressions on peace, one step at a time.
I think we're giving people a chance to live again.
The question remains, what happens when the American soldiers leave Bosnia? When we come back, we'll show you how the Wisconsin reservists are already playing a critical role in building a lasting peace. Many fear the factions will return to fighting when the Americans go home. That's where the Wisconsin reservists come in. They're trying to build a peace that lasts.
In a land where hatred fueled a savage civil war, America's weapons now point toward peace. I-4 is painted on all military vehicles, an abbreviation for Implementation Forces. The soldiers are helping implement the Dayton Peace Accord. So far, the accord and peace are holding. Muslims and Serbs alike are living peacefully for the first time in nearly 4 years. Many praise the U.S. troops.
Americans here in the base, everything is right.
When troops come here, every day is better.
Americans is very good.
But some criticize them, saying once the Americans pull out, the battles will once again begin. That more or less the Americans are camouflaging a war that's still brewing.
I am Captain Jeff Poncratz.
That's where the reservists of the 432nd Civil Affairs Battalion from Green Bay come in. Captain Jeff Poncratz is laying the groundwork for lasting peace. On this day, he's spearheading a meeting between the U.S. commander and the governor of a Serb province. Heady stuff, considering Captain Poncratz is usually teaching 8th graders in Neenah. A year ago, Captain Poncratz taught middle school in Waukesha. No matter where he teaches, Poncratz delivers one basic message.
No matter what obstacles you face in your life, it ultimately is up to you.
This teacher now delivers lessons to the leaders of the once warring sides in Bosnia. But Poncratz says the effects of war have already driven the main message home.
We are hearing the people say we're tired of fighting. And I believe them. They look you straight in the eye and they want peace.
Yet, after all the hatred, after all the bloodshed, surprisingly, people here can't even answer a basic question about this war.
Why fight?
Fight and the Serbs fighting war.
Why?
We don't know why. We don't know why.
Without clear answers to the roots of this war, questions linger about whether the U.S. military mission will produce a lasting peace in this land of mud, mines, and misery.
We can head the people in the right direction, and what they do with it once we leave, it's up to them.
Only time will tell if the presence of U.S. troops in Bosnia will be a temporary fix or a step toward permanent peace. In either case, our soldiers are serving a noble cause, a true mission of peace to stop the horrendous killing. I'm Dwayne Pullman. Thanks for joining us.
America's forces prepare for a peace mission. The reservists of the 432nd Civil Affairs Battalion from Green Bay join the ranks, waving a true symbol of home, a Green Bay Packer banner, as they board a plane bound for Bosnia. We join them on their historic journey. Everyone here is a citizen turned soldier, and each has high hopes for the mission. The group includes a history professor,
I look forward to being a part of a lot of history.
a log home builder from Crivets,
A person would be a fool not to be afraid.
even a politician from Green Bay.
It's kind of going from the fire and into from the frying pan into the fire.
Ordinary people now called upon to perform extraordinary work far from home. Bosnia, a land of mud, mines, and misery. A region ripped by nearly 4 years of war, bathed in the blood of ethnic cleansing. A pock-marked purgatory for the survivors. Splintered homes and shattered lives. Everywhere, shells of houses stand silent witness to the horror that happened here. Muslims were mutilated, their homes plundered. Haunting reminders resonate across the hillsides. America's big guns now separate both sides, bringing a precarious peace. Tears still flow. Francesca cries as she lights 72 candles for each of the children killed 8 months ago in Tuzla by one Serb shell.
She's very sorry and she wants to light all this fire for them.
Oroysanen cries for her son, burned alive by Muslims.
She's tell to Muslims he's kills she's son and she's son is here 22 years.
22 years old.
22 years old.
In the heart of this aching country, Wisconsin natives are standing guard.
Everybody gets a 100% check coming in.
Warrant Officer Bert Whitlow grew up on Milwaukee's South Side. Now he's in charge of security at America's main base at Tuzla.
You have to be in the mud and in the trenches and know what it feels like. But there is a sense of pride to know you're doing something for your country.
This is Avenger 5, Roger. We're continuing mission to the east. Negative contact out.
Another Badger is literally in the middle of the emotional factions. Lieutenant Steve Walter is from Hartford, Wisconsin. He makes daily patrols through the former Serb front line.
You know, that's how the lines used to be.
Right.
This is where the Serbs pushed across and gained land.
So they were all...
It's now called the Zone of Separation, or ZOS. Lieutenant Walter and his company stand between the once warring Bosnian Serbs and the Muslims and Croats.
I feel I am definitely doing some good in it.
Thanks to Lieutenant Walter and other American soldiers, people are coming back to claim their tattered homes, free from bullets, bombs, and torture.
This is all yours.
Peace is holding. Both sides say they want it.
Will peace last?
Kako amerykańskie wojska pojdą za godzinę. Zostanie mir.
Mi vjerujemo da će biti.
Say we believe it's gonna stay.
This Serb major allowed me and a group of U.S. Army captains to get the first ever American look at his former fighting positions, high in the mountains and deep in Serb territory. The Serb battalion commander and his comrades are abiding by the Dayton Peace Accord. All the bunkers here will be destroyed.
They're supposed to burn or blow up, so none of this is left standing.
Besides destroying the bunkers, the Americans also need to identify the mines. Sometimes that's easy, like this one back here, but most times they're hidden under the snow. This whole area is filled with mines.
Mines lurk along the roadsides, too. Traveling is treacherous. Ice threatens to throw even sure-footed Humvees off the road. If that didn't detonate a mine, plunge down the cliffside would surely kill.
It's cold here in Bosnia, but believe it or not, on most days, it's warmer than what it is in Milwaukee.
So warm, it's creating a lot of this mud. It's everywhere. And it's a constant nuisance. Even big military monster trucks get stuck in this mud.
Pretty much stay muddy.
A pathetic setting, yet every soldier we talked with is proud to be here, serving the peace mission to Bosnia. And the citizen soldiers of the 432nd will play a crucial role in that mission.
I am Captain Jeff Ponokratz. I am the commander's link.
We'll focus on one member of the 432nd, Captain Jeff Ponokratz, an 8th grade teacher from Nina. Now, this teacher must educate Bosnian leaders, motivating them to take steps toward permanent peace.
No matter what you do here, it ultimately depends on, do they want it? Do they want it? And you know, that's hard to say.
Okay, I've got Red Star Cluster backpack. You've got a red smoke. Okay. You got any questions? Let's go.
The ZOS is a long way from Hartford, Wisconsin, but it's now home for Lieutenant Steve Walter.
Avenger Talk, Avenger 5.
The 25-year-old Hartford native and West Point graduate probably knows his section of the zone of separation better than anyone.
See the bunker? There's a trench line that goes in the building.
Since arriving in December, Lieutenant Walter has led Alpha Troop of the 3-Quarter Cavalry through hundreds of kilometers of foot patrols in the mountains and hills of this demilitarized yet devastated zone.
This side is mine.
Mines are a constant threat.
Don't walk where others have not walked.
Can you be okay?
You'll be okay. Mike, you want to check on these houses out?
Lieutenant Walter and his troops search for signs of soldiers violating the peace agreement.
What are you exactly looking for? Tracks? Like
just any sign that there may still be folks here.
And others who might be scouting the Americans from former Serb positions.
We're trying to identify areas that folks may be using to watch us. To our camp is the town of Alivaluski.
This section of the ZOS is the farthest point the Serb army surged. Remnants of bunkers and weapons of war now litter the hillsides.
That is the actual detonator for the mortar round. So when it actually hits something, that's what causes the mortar round to go off.
The homes here belong to Muslim families. Many of them fled years ago.
This is Lishi.
They abandoned the whole town?
Those who stayed were often butchered. The homes were torn apart by the Serbs after they were forced out by the peace agreement. What the Serbs couldn't take, they destroyed. Everywhere around here are remnants of houses that used to belong to the Muslims. Now, slowly but surely, the Muslims are coming back.
Bravo! Yeah.
These Muslim farmers mistook us for Serb soldiers.
Ja kad sam gore bio, kad ste i odgovora rekao da nisu oni što... Srbi, ja, pa se prepo, ja se prepo. Rekao gotovo.
They thought we were Serbs.
Not Serb, American.
Dobro.
Relieved, they tell us they're here to take a look at what's left of their farms.
Okay. This is all yours.
Sve, ja.
The troops find signs of life in that abandoned town, too. These Muslim lumberjacks came back when they heard the Americans had secured the area.
I think we're giving people a chance to live again.
Lieutenant Walter is proud of the role his patrols are playing in the Bosnian mission. He and Alpha Troop are striving for peace, one step at a time.
And thanks to Lieutenant Walter, the Muslims are moving back into the city of Olivo as well. Now, you'll get a chance to see that devastated city later this week. Tomorrow, you'll come with us as the first Americans into a former Serb fighting position filled with bunkers and mines.
Interesting. How did you find Lieutenant Walter? I mean, here's a guy from Hartford who's over there wandering the hills of Bosnia. How'd you find him?
We went out with the group that we went over there with the 432nd, and just happened upon him. I was wearing a TMJ hat. They noticed a Milwaukee sign, and they said, hey, guess what? And we found him.
nervous job for them? Is it nervous out there because of the mines, because of the potential?
I think there's a lot of anxiety because of those mines, because of the danger out there, but these are people that are trained for this mission, and they are enjoying, at least in part, the chance to do it.
All right. Interesting stuff, Dwayne. Thanks a lot. And now to Bosnia and a first-hand look at one of the dangers facing American peacekeepers. Our Dwayne Pullman and photographer Jesse Castaneda were among the first Americans to visit a Serb bunker position filled with mines. Dwayne takes us on a tour in tonight's close-up look at America's peace mission to Bosnia. Dwayne?
Mike, much of our time in Bosnia was spent in or near this line, and I'll highlight it for you here. This is the Zone of Separation, or the ZOS. Now, the ZOS is the demilitarized zone that separates the Muslim and Croats, which are over here, from the Serbs, which are over here. Now, one day we got a chance to travel deep into Serb territory to get a look at some former Serb fighting positions. We traveled for hours through the rugged countryside of Serb-controlled Bosnia to meet with a Serb commander.
He's going to show us to their lines. He's going to be able to show us both lines. That's where they stopped fighting.
Major Mile Kosaric commands the Serbian 3rd Battalion of the 1st Brigade.
Mine will be a problem because snow. Snow, you understand?
In frosty peaks high above the Serb city of Sokolina, Major Kosaric agreed to weave a group of American captains and me through snow-covered, mine-infested mountainsides to reveal former Serb front-line fighting positions.
That's the line. Is this the line of confrontation? Right over here? This is where they battled?
Yeah, right through here.
So where the trees are knocked down, this is all where war was fought?
Yeah, right through here.
Ammunition acted like a chainsaw in deadly battles during 1994 and 95 on trees and soldiers. Hundreds of each fell here. In trenches and bunkers, the Serbs dug in. Then, reluctantly, they pulled out of these positions for peace.
Ali kad je potpisan sporazum, onda smo se povukli nazad.
And when it said this ground by that belongs to them, but because of the Dayton Agreement, they decided to go back.
I sve smo ispoštovali do kraja.
This is the best for this country. Gdje su mine?
Mine?
Ne, mine.
Mine su poskidane, ali su neke ostale po snegom, pošto je dubok sneg.
Everything down this way, and everything down on Sokolina. There's mines underneath the snow.
Countless mines remain. Cats claim the bunkers. No human in their right mind would venture out here unguided.
Zemlja je smrznuta, ne može se iskopati.
You can't dig out the mine because the ground is frozen.
Yeah.
The Bosnians and Serbs have fought over this land for years. Both sides know this country very well. But this is the first time Americans have stepped foot here. With the help of the Serbs, the Americans are pinpointing these positions. It's part of the peace agreement.
You fought here?
Yes.
Moja pozicija. No.
His position.
The reason for all this plotting is simple.
The Serbians are supposed to come back here and go to the minefields and remove the mines or destroy them in place. And all their bunkers they're supposed to burn or blow up. So none of this is left standing.
The Americans are here to make sure that happens.
Okay. When is the next time he wants to come here to burn the bunkers and mark minefields?
He's going to take the engineers whenever they want to go, and they're going to go and walk him all the way down here if you want to serve.
Yes.
And do the marking whenever you're ready.
Soon these once fierce fighting positions will be destroyed. But is the fighting finished for good? The Serb major thinks so.
Serbs want peace as well.
Serbijske vojska su mir.
Za mir?
Za mir.
Okay, za mir.
Za
mir, da. That's peace?
Yes, for peace. That's why he did it, for peace.
People on both sides in Bosnia, the Muslims and the Serbs, say they want peace, but it will be very difficult. You'll see why tomorrow at 5 when I show you the pathetic and tragic results of ethnic cleansing end war, and it is pathetic and tragic.
Sure. You talked about destroying these bunkers, getting rid of these mines. How long a process are we talking about, Dwayne? Because as you explained yesterday and again today, there are mines throughout the countryside.
Right. There were some maps made of where they put the mines, but the really tough part is that some soldiers on the Serb side, the Americans believe, just simply put them out there, put the mines in the field, maybe on a whim one day, and never really told anyone. And those are the dangerous ones. As far as getting rid of the mines that they know about and the bunkers, it's a simple task. They go out there and either burn the bunkers, blow them up, and when they find the mines, they do the same.
All right, Dwayne, thanks a lot. Look forward to tomorrow. After nearly 4 years of war and ethnic cleansing, the emotional scars in Bosnia run deep. Today at 5, our Dwayne Pullman shows us the pain of the Bosnian people as part of his close-up look at America's peace mission to Bosnia. Dwayne?
Mike, you'd be hard-pressed to look back here at this map of Bosnia and point to a place where people have not suffered. Everywhere we went, we found misery and tears.
In Bosnia, tears fall where mortars and grenades once did. Shell-shocked people now grapple with the wrath of nearly 4 years of civil war and ethnic cleansing.
Muslims must go in this village.
Shells of houses dot the hillsides above the Serb city of Vlasenica.
Each of these homes has an awful story. Muslims used to live here, and when the Serb army came in, they either killed every Muslim who was living in this house, or they'd take the family away to a concentration camp. The Serb army then went about destroying the home. What was left, the Serb locals took for themselves.
Even electrical wiring and plumbing was ripped out of the walls. Bones mixed with former belongings in piles dumped along the roadside.
Everything is go from Muslims' homes.
Did they destroy the homes, just basically?
Yes, destroy homes and everything in homes.
This is Olivo.
Everything is destroyed here. Look at this.
Journalist Amira Salabasic and her television crew captured the images of war in Olivo. I watched as their video revealed a once beautiful resort town being dismantled by daily bombings.
I can't. Look at this. Everything is destroyed. Now it's very bad. Destroyed. Many people is killed. Everything is
ruined.
Yes.
The town is now tattered. No building was untouched. Hundreds died. The Serbs weren't just villains. They were victims, too. Boroisinen's all alone. She lost her husband in the war, and she says her son was captured by Muslims and burned alive.
They took him in and then...
You fire. Understand him?
Oh, burned him?
Yes.
Tortured him.
Yeah.
In Bosnia, there's plenty of shame to go around.
Tomorrow, a look at one Wisconsin group of reservists and what they're doing, trying to construct a lasting peace in Bosnia, and I can't think of a tougher mission after looking at those stories.
When you look at that pain and when you look at that suffering, Dwayne, do the people who have experienced it firsthand think it's over, or is there more to come?
Well, they're hoping it's over. It depends on who you're talking to over there, but the majority of people say we're tired of war and they want peace, and they're glad the Americans are over there. We'll show you more of that tomorrow.
All right, we'll look forward to that. Thanks a lot, Dwayne.
In a land where hatred fueled a 4-year savage civil war, America's weapons point toward peace, separating the once warring factions of Bosnia. Everywhere, Muslims and Serbs praised the U.S. troops.
What did she think about the American troops being here?
Ovako pita šta mislite o američkim trupama ovdje koji su došli?
Jedva smo čekali da dođu.
He's very happy.
Da im je jako fino sad tamo u Americi.
When troops come here, every day is better.
America is best.
But some criticize, saying once the Americans pull out, the battles will once again begin. That more or less the Americans are camouflaging a war that's still brewing.
I am Captain Jeff Pankratz.
That's where reservist Jeff Pankratz and the 432nd Civil Affairs Battalion from Green Bay come in. Captain Pankratz and the Green Bay group link civilians with services, laying the groundwork for a lasting peace. On this day, Captain Pankratz is spearheading a meeting between the U.S. commander and the governor of a Serb province. Heady stuff for an 8th grade social studies teacher in Nina. A year ago, Captain Pankratz taught middle school in Waukesha. No matter where he teaches, Pankratz delivers one basic message.
No matter what obstacles you face in your life, it ultimately is up to you.
This teacher now delivers that message to the leaders of both sides in Bosnia. But he says the effects of war have already driven the main message home.
We are hearing the people say we're tired of fighting. And I believe them. They look you straight in the eye and they want peace.
Dwayne Pullman, today's TMJ4. Scott doesn't write to his wife to tell her how it's going in Bosnia.
60 rounds for the M16.
Barbara doesn't write to her husband either.
Are you proud of her?
Absolutely. You proud of him?
Yes.
The Millers are a military couple from Manitowoc, Wisconsin, serving together in the same reserve battalion from Green Bay.
Well, actually, we've never served like in the same unit together.
This picture was taken during Desert Storm when Captain Miller and Captain Miller were members of the 82nd Airborne. Each served a dozen years in the regular Army.
We wouldn't really be satisfied just staying at home because we're both the type of people that enjoy moving around and being in the military.
Even when they're not in the military, the Millers move around. They travel extensively, from Tibet to mountaintops. When summer rolls around, they work on a fishing boat in Alaska. There's a common theme.
We just want to make a difference.
We're going on a mission in like 10 minutes.
Captain Michael Marquette, who's attached to the same battalion as the Millers, wants to make a difference too, and not just by serving here in Bosnia.
I think that my campaign for county supervisor and city alderman is certainly going to be unique.
Marquette was in the middle of making his first foray into the political arena, campaigning for alderman in Green Bay when he was called up.
My name will appear on the ballot, although I won't be at the polls that day to shake hands.
Marquette officially ended his campaign when he got the call to go to Bosnia. After all, how can you run for office from this place? Well, a true politician won't pass up an opportunity when there's a camera around.
Could this trip to Bosnia for you and your service to the country strengthen your campaign?
I don't see how it could hurt.
And it didn't hurt, even though he took himself out of the running. Captain Marquette got enough votes in the primary last Wednesday to appear on the ballot for the Green Bay City Council in the general election. One quick note, if you missed part of this series or you want to see more, I'll be hosting a half-hour documentary called Bosnia Mission of